I'm Peter Christian. We don't have any coffee for you this morning, but we are going to give the candidates an opportunity to address you. I'd like to introduce our nominating committee chairwoman, Lori Schmidt, who is going to do an introduction, and then we'll introduce each of the candidates. Thank you for watching. Lori?
Hi, good morning. Just a quick summary of why we're doing by videography. COVID-19 and Mother Nature kind of threw us a curveball, so we wanted to stay with tradition and have as much time for the residents and property owners to get familiar with the candidates. As Peter has indicated, I'm the chair of this year's nominating committee. For some of our newer residents and property owners that may be watching this, nominating committee is a requirement of the bylaws, and each year 3 of the 9 board members are up for election or re-election. This year we had great response from the community. We had nearly a dozen property owners raise their hands and said, consider me. Here are my qualifications and experience. With that said, I would now like to introduce our candidates one at a time as they come up to speak. We'll be doing it in alphabetical order, and the first gentleman is George Haley. And we are wearing our masks, but obviously when we're speaking, I've asked them to take the masks off.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for taking the time to view my presentation. My name is George Haley, and I'm originally from Rhode Island. I moved to Hilton Head in 2012. My wife and I vacationed on the island for over 30 years before deciding to make it our home. We have enjoyed living on the island and consider it a very special place. My educational background includes a BS in Business Administration from the University of Rhode Island and an MBA from Bryan University. While living in Rhode Island, I worked as a business sales manager for the Thomas J. Lipton Company for 23 years. I started a second career in 1996 when I was certified by the United States Professional Tennis Association as a tennis professional. My tennis career includes coaching at the collegiate and high school levels. In addition, I ran my own tennis academy, managed an indoor tennis facility, and was a director of tennis for a country club. After getting settled in my new home on Hilton Head Plantation, I volunteered to serve on 2 POA committees. I was appointed to both the Finance and Recreation committees. I served on the Finance Committee for 1 year, and I'm currently in my 8th year serving on the Recreation Committee. During this time, I have been involved with the planning of both the Spring Lake and Dolphin Head projects, and I'm the representative for the Bocce Club on the Recreational Committee. I've also volunteered to help at many recreational activities, such as the Pet Parade, where you may have seen me as a judge. My involvement with these projects and the knowledge gained from working alongside some of the board members and the POA staff has given me the necessary background to serve on the board of directors. I also have served on the board of directors of the Hilton Head Land Trust. This organization is partially responsible, along with the POA, for the care and upkeep of both the Whooping Crane and Cypress Conservancies. I've also spent time volunteering at St. Francis Thrift Store. I believe it is the board's responsibility to maintain and improve the standard of living in the plantation so that the property values of all residents will be enhanced. If elected, my first priority will be the upkeep and improvement of our infrastructure and recreational amenities. Once the Dolphin Head project is completed, some of the recreational improvements that I would support include the addition of pickleball courts if placed in an area where the noise would not be bothersome to non-players. Additional bocce courts, the renovation of the tennis pro shop, a rebuilding or renovation of the plantation house, and continue to nourish and make improvements to Pine Island. I believe these and all projects should be chosen through community surveys. The funding for these projects should come from the capital transfer account and not from decreasing the POA yearly fees. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my address this morning.
Thank you, George. Thank you. Our next candidate is John Herron.
Good morning, everyone. I have a extensive career in accounting, 30 years with Ernst & Whinney, Xerox, and Electrolux, but when my wife was recruited to Hilton Head, I came along and my passion for cost accounting had no home, so I did a pivot to real estate, which this place is so beautiful. It's a great thing to do here. So coming into Hilton Head Plantation, we first rented, found out how great a place it was, and we ended up buying in here, which fit with my real estate career. I have served 2 years on the Finance Committee. I'm completing my first 3-year term on the Board of Directors. I have chaired the ARB Committee. I've chaired the Maintenance Committee, and so right now I serve as the Vice President of the Board. I also chaired the committee to survey the plantation for the name change. So we've done a lot. As an accountant, I truly appreciate the strength of the plantation and its conservative management. I look at our capital transfer fee, what that enables us to do, our weather casualty fund, what that allows us to sleep at night, and the major repair and replacement fund that keeps us going. These are things that not all gated communities around here have, and allows us to operate from a position of strength. So going forward, what are we going to do in the next couple of years? Well, one thing we do is we abide by the covenants, especially the Class A and the amended declaration, to know what we can do, what we're restricted from doing. We listen to the residents here through emails, coffees, questions, and every couple of years we send out a survey, which you'll be receiving soon. And we also, every 2 years, construct a strategic plan put together by the various committees and the administration, with some input from individuals as well. And that has been sort of our compass moving forward. So right now the people have spoken and we're moving forward with the Dolphin Head project. I think it's going to be dynamite. It's already our most heavily utilized amenity around here, and it's going to be great. So what I'm looking to do is to continue with the conservative management that we have, and to move forward with Dolphin Head to get the next version of the resident opinion questionnaire out and see what people have to say and move forward. I thank you all so much for your time.
Thank you, John. Our next candidate is Rex Garnowitz.
Hi, I am Rex Garnowitz. I'm the director of the Coastal Discovery Museum, and I've lived on the island for 6.5 years since I started that job. When I came here, one of the first things I did is I looked for a house, and I came to Hilton Head Plantation, and I said, this is where I really want to live. And I fell in love with this place, just like I fell in love with the Coastal Discovery Museum. And for me, my interest is in the natural environment, the beauty that surrounds us here, the air, the water, the plants, the animals, but also the people. And so a lot of people, since they saw my bio up here in Plantation Living, have called and asked me questions. And that's how I operate. I really want to be sort of an open access point where if you have concerns that you want to bring to the board, people can just call me up or email me. And a lot of the questions have surrounded issues, I think, that have been somewhat divisive and that people have taken sides on. And what I've responded is I have personal beliefs, but what I think with issues like naming the organization, politicization in communities by putting flags up. I think those are issues that really should be talked about on the board level. We should hear your voices and we should really think about them. And I think in some cases, what initially appears to be the main issue that's controversial isn't the deeper issue that we want to resolve. And so I'd really like to be involved strategically in thinking about some of these problems. And the reason I'm interested in it, as a museum director, as someone that operates a business, I want to think strategically into the future. And this image that we have of HHP, it is the best place to live on Hilton Head Island if you're a resident, and I want it to continue to be that way, and I want it to continue to improve. And so yes, I'm concerned, like other people are, about finances. I'm fiscally very conservative, even though my friends and colleagues have labeled me as a progressive. I'm fiscally conservative, and I guess socially progressive. And I think that what I would view my role as being a voice for that, but not driving my own agenda, really listening to the community and helping resolve these issues, whether they're resolved in my way or not. I think that people want to feel like their voices are heard and discussed, and that's what I've done at the museum. It's what I've done throughout my career, and it's why I think I'll play a good role on the board here. I sometimes tell people things they don't want to hear, but when a board sort of talks about it and makes a decision and listens to the community, I am totally on board with the decisions that we make as a group, even if they don't reflect my own individual opinion. So thank you very much. I kept it short enough, right? Thank you.
You did an excellent job. Thank you, Rex. Our next candidate is Edward Shotland.
Losing my hearing aids. Good morning, my name is Ed Shotland, and thank you for the opportunity to talk to you today. My wife Nancy and I moved to Hilton Head about 2 years ago, from Rhode Island, but we have been coming to Hilton Head for almost 40 years. We first came in 1980, and on that short visit we ended up leaving, owning a timeshare. So we've been coming ever since. Why Hilton Head Plantation? It's a beautiful, well-run residential community. I play golf, I play tennis, I like to ride my bike every other day or so, I like to fish, and I like to connect with nature. And what better place than here at Hilton Head Plantation? I'm a retired hospital administrator and a former management consultant, and I spent 40+ years working in community hospitals and in large academic medical centers in New York, Kentucky, Boston, and in Rhode Island, consulting all around the country. Throughout my career and since moving here, I've always been involved in the community that I lived and worked in. My father taught me at a very young age that it was a responsibility of any individual to try to serve the community that they lived in. And my candidacy for the POA board reflects that commitment. Since moving here, I have become a member of the Finance Committee of the Congregation Bet Yam. I've also become a member of the Fitness Committee at the Country Club of Hilton Head, and I am a member of the board of the Hilton Head Island Land Trust, as well as the chairman of the volunteer committee, which we have just formed there. If anyone wants to volunteer, let me know. And as George has already mentioned, the Land Trust, along with the POA, does manage Cypress Marsh as well as Whooping Crane Conservancies. My background in healthcare management has taught me how to work with others with respect, to be honest without necessarily creating animosity, and to listen carefully to what others have to say. In the future, the board will continue to face many challenges. If elected, my goals would be to continue to work with, to listen to and to work and respond to the community, to maintain and improve our amenities as well as our infrastructure, and to work with fiscal integrity. I thank you for the time to talk to you today, and look forward to meeting you maybe next week.
Thank you, Edward. And our fifth and final candidate for this morning is Jim Kiley.
Good morning and thank you. I'm delighted to be here. I'm relatively new to being full-time in Hilton Head. My wife and I just moved down in the fall, but we've been coming to Hilton Head Plantation for 10 years. We owned a rental property, or shall I say a vacation property rather, for the last 5 years before we moved down full-time. With the pandemic, we've had the opportunity to rethink how we work, and now I have the ability to work from anywhere, so this is where we choose to be. Prior to applying for the POA role here, I have worked in the POA in my last community in Pennsylvania, where we lived for 30 years. I served as both the president and the treasurer of the Wetherell Estates POA, and we dealt with many, complex issues, as I'm sure face the Hilton Head Plantation POA. We dealt with issues ranging from selecting trash service to dealing with invasive species bugs, lantern flies that were taking down trees, and the more complex issues such as an underfunded well and water tower system that needed to be upgraded. So I'm proud of the work that we did to put our community in a stronger position go forward, so we would have the resources needed to deal with the issues that face the community when the day came. My work experiences have been all in finance. I'm a CPA with an MBA. I currently work as the corporate controller for a census corporation, which is PA-based. And prior to that, I worked for many years with Icon Office Solutions, Aventis Pharmaceutical, and Iron Mountain. I'm very committed to this area. Recently, my sister-in-law and brother-in-law just decided to move, a mile from us here on the plantation, and my brother and sister both live local, so we're thrilled to be very committed to the community. As far as goals for the next several years, my focus really would be around maintaining the great amenities that exist here. To me, it's like a playground for adults. I mean, we can fish, golf, swim, anything you could want to do, it's all available. And to me, that's really what's going to maintain the values of this plantation. And I would, very much want to invest in focusing on, maintaining the great work that's already been done. So those are sort of the things I'm focused on and why I think I'm qualified. And I thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Jim. I'd like to thank all the candidates for stepping forward and volunteering their services, their skills, their talents to offer diverse and hopefully strong candidate pool and ballot. Just as a reminder, the Coffee with Peter, originally scheduled for today, has been rescheduled for Wednesday, the 24th at 10 o'clock. Hopefully Mother Nature smiles upon us. Again, thank you to the candidates, and thank you.